Now, there was a storm of controversy this week when a tweet was sent by an MEP stating the following. So, Ulster picks have upset my Republican stalkers. Tell you what, the boron can't match the lambeg, you Fenian bees. That MEP is the BNP leader, Nick Griffin. He's refused to apologise, and he's been reported to the PSNI, who say they are investigating. Nick Griffin joins us from our Brussels studio tonight to explain himself. Why did you come to Northern Ireland, Mr Griffin, and say that?
I came to go on the Ulster Covenant Parade. I knew it was going to be a fantastic display of loyalist folk culture. I wanted to see that. And as you know, we've got an active lot of members in the province, so I was there with them. Why did you send that tweet? What is there to gain in Northern Ireland, Nick, from sending a tweet like that at a time when there was so much tension? Of course, you need to take the tweet in context. That I was, as you read out, I was aiming it specifically at a group of what I called Republican stalkers, who were people putting the most vile tweets on my tweet feed, attacking myself, loyalists, my wife, in really horrible terms, and I was responding to them and them alone. Yeah, you know, you don't live in Northern Ireland. The majority of people watching this programme tonight do, and people, Mr Griffin, have lost their lives in Northern Ireland because of inflammatory language, because of language which hasn't been thought about. And you're a political leader, and maybe you should just think about the lives and the people who live here, work here every single day, and what a tweet like that could result in. Did you think? Look, Sinn Féin, Selamarg, it's on their website, an unrepentant Fenian bastard. They make a joke of it amongst themselves. It's a joke. It's nothing of any seriousness at all. You know, the BBC are constantly biased against the British National Party. You're outrageously biased against the loyalist community. You're just, well, we call them the Blatant Bias Corporation. That's what you are. Thank you for that. I'll continue with the questions. You understand the tension that there was that week in Northern Ireland? Yeah, I understand especially the tension that's being caused, the pain and the problems being caused in the loyalist community by the relentless cultural ethnic cleansing war that's going on against them, courtesy of Sinn Féin, courtesy now also of the SDLP, and wound up and encouraged by the BBC. And I understand that very well. And how many days did you spend in Northern Ireland over the last 12 months? Over the last 12 months, 4 or 5. Right. So you're an expert now? No, I'm not an expert. I recognise one of those BBC-packed audiences when I hear one, by the way. What's that mean? What does that mean? You know perfectly well. Your researchers were on the phone earlier today, whipping people in who would come in to specifically have a go at me. That's a BBC-packed audience. Okay. You're notorious for them, just like questions. Let me just do a kind of valid test here. I want us to take a wide shot of this audience, please. And I'd like you to put your hand up if you applied for tickets. You did not know who was coming on the show tonight. Put your hand up at the point you applied for tickets and you hadn't a clue who was coming on this show tonight. Let me see your hands. Apologise. Would you like to apologise to me now, Mr Griffin? It's basically everybody. I can't see the picture, I'm afraid. I'm in a remote studio. Let me describe the picture to you. It's basically everybody in the studio, bar about 6 people. Yeah, well, I know for sure we had someone phone in and tell us that the BBC were phoning in to whip in the audience. I'm sure that a lot of the people there, as you say, are there. They've been there tickets a long time before, but the audience is still rigged in terms of being packed with enough people to make it sound suitably anti-BNP. OK, sir. Dahi Mackay is here from Sinn Féin. Where are you, Dahi? Dahi. Was that tweet considered a joke? How significant could it have been in Northern Ireland?
Well, I think we all know, Stephen, what the terminology is when people are making disparaging sectarian remarks about either the Catholic community or the Protestant community, and this quite clearly was a sectarian remark. I mean, on Nick's own Twitter account, he makes reference to the fact that he was great friends with George Seawright. He was quite a controversial character here in the north, and of course George Seawright also made reference to the term Fenian when he talked about Fenians should be incinerated along with Catholic priests. So that is the context in which Nick made this comment.
And Adrian Watson, you're from the Ulster Unionist Party. What would you say to Nick tonight?
Well, I was there on Saturday as an Orange man. I walked with tens of thousands of Orange brethren from throughout Northern Ireland and further afield. we all probably had a connection with the Ulster Covenant 100 years ago, unlike this gentleman here, who's the new spokesman for loyalism, I believe. He seems to proclaim that anyway. But I'm totally ashamed of those comments, and I know I speak for many of my Orange friends to disassociate ourselves from him and from any of the vile propaganda hate that he is coming out with.
I wouldn't want you to think that I've forced everybody to clap there, Nick. So I'll let you respond.
Can I just respond to one of those points? Yeah, I will take no lectures at all from a member of Sinn Féin, the murder party, in sectarianism.
Can I ask you, obviously this is a matter that the police is investigating now. Have the PSNI been in contact with you?
They phoned up one of our offices and asked to speak to me earlier on, yes.
And did you have a conversation? Will you cooperate?
No, I certainly won't. I believe there's still crime in Northern Ireland. The police should be dealing with crime and not politically correct nonsense like this.
So you're not the party of law and order? Is that not how you describe yourselves? The party of law and order?
We're absolutely the party of law and order. We are not the party of politically correct repression of free speech.
Will you make yourself available for interview? Will you cooperate with the police?
I most definitely will not. If they come and see me, they'll get the standard answer, no comment.
You believe in your conviction so much that you can't discuss it with the police?
I'm not interested in discussing it with the police. The police should have better things to do, dealing with the drug problem, which is as big in Northern Ireland as anywhere else, if not worse. They've got all sorts of crime, criminality, gangs. They need to be sorting out things like that, not wasting their time at the behest of Martina Anderson, who's a woman who served a prison sentence for being a member of an IRA bombing unit. That's the person who's complained, and he's encouraging the police service to have a go at me. It's frankly utterly absurd.
So the DUP and Sinn Féin have a mandate from the people of Northern Ireland. That's indisputable. And you told us last year in your pronouncements that you would be making history by contesting elections here. How did you do?
We made history by contesting the elections. We didn't do very well. I think we didn't even do as well as the PUP, who, let's face it, did terribly.
So that's your strapline. You made history by not doing very well.
No, we made history by standing. We'll carry on being there, and sooner or later, especially the loyalist community, will get sick and tired of the DUP playing the Sinn Féin card every time there's an election, and they'll actually vote for what they believe in instead of being panicked into voting for the old parties.
How many seats did you contest in Northern Ireland, just as a matter of interest, in the Assembly elections?
I believe it was 3.
It was. Where?
I can't remember, and you'll have a go. It's because he doesn't know Northern Ireland. Of course I don't know Northern Ireland. I represent the northwest of England.
Ah, you can't remember in Northern Ireland. So you come in here for a day, you send a tweet, you go back to Brussels, you don't even know what seats you've contested.
I can't remember which seats we contested, and I'm telling you the truth. I tell you what, I'm the only politician who will come on here and tell you the truth, even when superficially it hurts me. That's what I do. I'm telling you the truth. I can't remember the seats. So what? We stood there to give people in Northern Ireland a chance to vote for a non-sectarian party on particular problem of immigration.
Stood where, Mr. Griffin?
Don't go on. I've told you. I don't know. Which part of that don't you understand?
Stood somewhere in Northern Ireland. Don't really know. How many votes did you get, roughly?
Shocking set of votes. About 1,000 in total, I think it was. Very, very low.
1,200. Very, very low. Were you embarrassed?
There we go. Higher than I thought. Good stuff.
So in other words, what you did was...
No, I'm not embarrassed because, I'm not embarrassed. Tell you for why. I spent 4 hours campaigning on the Newton Ards Road, and I only got one hostile response in all that time, and that was a fellow who came out from the PUP office. Everyone else was extremely sympathetic, interested, but saying, we've got to vote DUP to keep Sinn Féin out. But they were agreeing with us constantly, especially on the way in which all the established Ulster parties on both sides of the old divide are not addressing the problem of immigration, which is really hurting ordinary people in Northern Ireland.
Ken Wilkinson is with us tonight. Ken, from the PUP.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, first of all, I'd like to ask Nick, does he believe in democracy?
I certainly do, yes.
Believe in democracy? You believe you're British? Would you represent you're British?
I believe I'm British. I know I'm British, yeah.
Well, why then were you derogatory of men who laid down their lives for freedom, for democracy, the Gurkhas. Why were you derogatory
I
of
most
them?
definitely was not.
We're not
I have
gonna,
never
sorry,
been derogatory.
Let me just stop you there.
No.
We told you, Ken, we're not going to talk about the Gurkhas tonight. And we're not talking about the Gurkhas
Well,
tonight.
I wasn't told
so
that.
that's the bottom line. You were told that. No. And we're not going to talk about the Gurkhas tonight.
Well, regarding loyalism, I would regard myself as a spokesman for loyalism. And your type of loyalism doesn't come across as my brand. I work with people from both sides of the community. Sure. I also work and challenge the issues of racism within my community on many, many occasions. And I've put my own life in the line regarding the issues of racism. But as I say, regarding your Britishness, I think you're an insult to Britishness, you're an insult to democracy, you're an insult to the British troops.